Hey guys, how are we doing? So it's Cryptoinsightuk here, bringing you back another YouTube video. First off, I want to apologise for not being that active. I've been back in the UK for about 2 weeks now. I've got a cold, as you can probably hear. My mic is not properly set up. I'm really bad at like fiddly stuff. My mic is just sitting on my desk like on its own, so if the acoustics aren't very good, I'm sorry about that because it's not on its stand right now. Just wanted to update you with some thoughts of mine on the crypto market. We're going to dive into a bit of TA. I'm going to look at XRP specifically towards the end. And I just want to talk about a few things I think are going on right now. Obviously, we've had some positive price action in the markets. I was calling for this for a long time. Those of you who've been following my channel for a while, I have thought the bottom was in since like June. Got wrong-footed with FTX. Talked about the fact that even with the FTX collapse, like the biggest collapse in the space, like probably bigger than like Terra Luna, etc., most of that collateral was flushed out then, and even though the sizing was probably bigger with FTX, the proportional drawdown was actually a lot less than what it was in the initial drawdown from the Terra Luna, Three Arrows, Capital, Celsius, these sorts of things. So that's why I thought the bottom was probably in. Also, the FUD was so bad. Like, it's still pretty bad now in the wider economic space, not just in crypto, but the FUD's pretty bad. That gives you a good idea of when to be dollar cost averaging in. I wrote a few times in my newsletter in around October, November, December time for people to get exposure if they wanted exposure to the asset class, and then suggested percentages depending on your risk tolerance and age, etc. If you don't already follow the newsletter, it is subscription based. There's a link in my bio if you want to follow that. If you don't follow me on Twitter, please go and do that because that's where I'm most active. I found creating content, as in videos, quite difficult recently because of how busy I've been and also been traveling about, as you guys know if you've been following my story. TikTok has taken a back seat recently. But with all that being said, let's just get into this video. There's a few things I want to talk about. We will start actually with the Bitcoin price action of what I thought was going to happen. Actually, I bet with Pav, who is the co-host of the weekly roundup, which we didn't get to do last week. We're going to do that this week. We're going to do a bit of a different spin on that, be a bit less news focused, because the news is just a little bit depressing, and a bit more of like our opinions, and just chat about what we want to chat about. So I said to Pav, when Bitcoin breaks out, it's going to run to 25k without giving anyone a chance to enter who wanted to enter at the lows. He said he thought we would come up and retrace back down to like 18, 19, which is around this sort of area. I can understand why. Closing gaps, boom, go again. Maybe we do after 25k, I don't know. But I said around 25k, excuse my voice, the 50-day moving average here will probably come back down to the 23, 24k level, maybe even down to this area here, this previous resistance level before we took this next leg down, or this previous resistance level here, the 2150 or the 22.7, and then I will continue on a move upwards in my opinion, but I'm not that focused on Bitcoin, I'm more focused on alts. But that's my opinion, has been my opinion with Bitcoin specifically. Excuse me, coughing and stuff. I'm, as I said, still ill. I pointed this bullish divergence out over on Twitter with the high lows in the RSI and the lower lows in price action, and it has played out pretty well. I talked about the inverted Bitcoin chart on Twitter as well, like this. Everything looks a lot more clear. It's a logarithmic scale. Everything looks a lot clearer on an inverted scale. This looks like it's about to drop down. Yes, the moving average is going to act as resistance, or if we're inverted like this, as support. But that's the next step, and we'll see what happens. I think we need a big push to get out of this area. Luckily enough, we've got CPI readings coming in the next 3 days. So will the Fed do something positive for the market, and will we see a push from this area, or will the Fed do something negative, and will we reject back down to some lower price levels? I personally am in the camp that we are actually going to be bullish. I've got a few things to show you, as I said. I'm going to quickly just check in on the S&P 500 now and Dow Jones. So this is the S&P. You see I've got a few lines drawn in there because I'm writing about this in the newsletter. I pointed out an inverted head and shoulders that was forming here, and I'll just try and draw this for you. I actually drew it like this in my newsletter because I thought that there could be a parallel inverted head and shoulders like that, which wouldn't quite be mirrored, but you can see here, boom, even with my awful drawing, if that's the right shoulder, cool. If not, if we had to come a bit deeper, I would say we come down to this level here, around the 364 or maybe around the 200-day moving average there. And that would give us a breakout target of this distance, which would be a push towards all-time high. If we break out of this descending trend line, we're probably going to go to all-time high. However, let's see where that would take us in retracement levels, because that isn't actually something that I have written about yet. So let's have a quick check. Cool, it takes us above everything. So yeah, I think we're pretty plain sailing for an all-time high. If we get that breakout here, it's quite a nice strong candle on the weekly this week. Would like to see some more volume come through today. If we are going to break out, looks like the market's going to open slightly lower than where we were yesterday. But if we just go into the daily time frame, you can see that the market's opened down here and had a push up. Today, the market's pre-market looking like they're going to open a little bit lower. Let's see what happens. Tesla was a big movie yesterday. One of my clients shorted Tesla down here, and I did tell him that even though I did probably agree with that Tesla isn't looking great right now, Elon Musk always manages to come out smelling of roses, and it's actually managed to pump out of that zone. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average, something that I really wanted to touch on. We have people like the blockchain backer, and I'm not disrespecting him because I love his work, saying that we'd lost support and we are going into the biggest financial crisis, similar to the Great Depression, after this run up for however long, like what is it, 100 years. I thought it was a very brave call to be calling a 100-year run up on one break of support, and whether he's right or wrong is still yet to be seen. But people again are extremely bullish on the extremely bearish on the Dow Jones, and I've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks in the newsletter that I am not bearish. I am not bearish on stocks, and I am not bearish on crypto. I think that I'm going to show you why in a minute. For a lot of different reasons, people are saying things like, I can see both sides of the argument. A great example of this is like China reopening. People saying with China reopening, that's actually bearish because for things like inflation, because we're going to see more of a demand for oil as production starts again. This puts CPI up, essentially. I believe that it would be bullish for inflation, as in inflation would come down because China will probably deploy some of their oil reserves. Supply will increase. Prices will then come down as China try and get supply back out there, meaning that retail will spend less money on goods because there's less demand or there's less competition for supply. So you can take things from different sides of perspectives, whatever you might think. I personally believe inflation's topped. We may have a second leg of inflation towards the end of the year. I can see that happening for sure, but I think that we will still continue to fall down, as I said in my 2022 predictions. If you've not seen that, 2023 predictions, go and check it out. I made it on New Year's Day when I was pretty hungover, so excuse the way my brain works in that. I'm a bit laggy, but I spoke to my sister about it and I wanted to share that with you guys. Anyway, back to the Dow Jones. We've broken out this broadening descending wedge. We found support on top of the previous resistance level and above the moving averages on the daily. One thing that does concern me is that we haven't set a secondary higher high here, although we did set a higher high than the recent swing high. The secondary higher high and the confirmation isn't confirmed, but there is a higher low and then a second higher low. If we continue to push up here, there's not even much space to the all-time high from here. We're looking at like 8%, whereas from here we've already had an 18% move and people just trying to jump on shorts all the way. I don't know what people see that I don't. I understand why, but I just don't think they take into perspective a lot of different things in the market. People are going to be bearish because of things like earnings reports and potential like retracting of growth, but this is something that I don't think they take into consideration. Actually, not this. This isn't the chart that I thought was going to come up because I've actually the other chart that I'm writing about in the newsletter. That's why that this has come up and not that. But this is stablecoins being deployed into market. We can talk about this. This is specifically for crypto. When coins start pumping into the market on a run up, they normally you see price action run up with that. So stablecoins start getting heavily deployed here. Yes, we still do come down there, but then we start to reverse. When stablecoins get deployed here near a low, we start to run up, and stablecoins here in a low. This is kind of an exception. Stablecoins a small amount get deployed here, and we have a small run up here. We've got a big leg up in stablecoins. Will a big leg up in crypto follow? We have seen some price movement so far, but this would suggest further moves to the upside. The chart that I did want to show is increased liquidity in the US. Liquidity chart in the US massively dropped throughout 2022. And now it's starting to go back to the upside. And when it goes to the upside, stocks normally rally. And this is exactly what I've talked about. As soon as liquidity starts to come back into the market, everyone doesn't really want to be in cash, but they also don't want to get caught on the wrong side of the trade. People have been overly bearish, in my opinion, and they will be overly bullish probably because everyone is shitting themselves, to be quite frank. Let's talk about XRP. I said I'd do that, so let's just jump on to the XRP chart. I'll quickly talk about Ape because I've talked about it so much on Twitter and so much in the newsletter. I've talked about it for probably 3 months in the newsletter. I started talking about it in and around this area here. In fact, to be completely honest, with me and my clients, we got an entry at 550. So this is how long ago I was looking at it. So it's obviously not a good entry. It was quite a big entry here-ish for my sort of position sizing. And we dropped all the way down here, and I talked about it the whole way through. I talked about this and said enter, 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 enter. Boom, 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 boom. Everyone who's read my newsletter will be up on their position. I was dollar cost averaging in and around this area here. I've got quite a big personal bag. And then I put an 11x leverage on when we had this retracement the other day when the US came out and said they were going to, like they had some major news. I put an 11x leverage on. At the literal bottom, I got lucky with that. And that is up substantially right now. It was only a $700 position, and I think it's worth, I don't know, $3,500 right now. So that's pretty good for the last few days' work. And the reason I've been so busy is because I've been running an agency for gamers to represent Bored Ape Yacht Club holders in their recent Dookie Dash game that is out at the minute. This is why my content's been slow. I've been putting loads and loads of time into that. But without further ado, let's get into XRP. If you've got any questions about anything that I'm doing, guys, please always shoot me a message. Twitter's the best place. I try and interact as much as I can. I am pretty busy, but I don't ever want to leave anyone in the dark. If you've got any questions, some people who follow me and have been in my community for a long time always know that they can ask me questions. Sometimes I am a bit abrupt with my answers, but I honestly don't sleep much and I just work all the time. But they know that I will get back to you as and when I can. But let's just look at XRP. We'll look at this chart without any drawings on it first. How's this looking? Well, again, in this area, I tweeted out twice saying this I thought was a liquidity grab. And then when we started to retrace out of this zone, I said, strap in, get your rockets ready, and we're going to take off. Hasn't pushed up as far as Bitcoin and Ethereum have yet. Still stuck under that 200-day moving average. But XRP often moves slightly later than Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I am personally looking for a leg up, probably towards this 53 cent zone. If not 55 cent, it will be great to break this high. Then I really think we're on for attacking the 180, as long as Bitcoin doesn't completely shit the bed and dump. Obviously, this is setting up nicely with a potential end to the lawsuit, which could be a catalyst one way or another. Negative on technical analysis here is that the RSI is broken down below the 14 SMA. So this could indicate that we are coming a bit further down with the RSI, maybe cooling off a little bit in price action. But I want to show you this chart here. This is the area that I said was really strong support. We had that liquidity grab into there, wiping out all these stop losses on people who were probably long at this point, and then pushing out of this zone. Stuck in this short-term resistance for a little while. Now we're sitting on top of that and wicked into it. Again, this is the moving average I was talking about. We have broken out the top of this descending wedge on the logarithmic scale that we've been stuck in for a long, long time. If you take this to the non-logarithmic or just traditional price action, you can move this this wedge in here, and you can see how far now we have broken out of that trend. So we are good and ready to go, in my opinion. We just need some sort of catalyst. And I'm personally, as you guys know, have my eyes on a lawsuit. Is it going to be a bit of a non-event? I don't know. Are Ripple going to win? I presume, and I hope so. My whole bag literally is in XRP, apart from the short-term bag that I'm trading with on ApeCoin, buying and flipping some NFTs with at the minute because the NFT market is going a bit crazy. Other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, I'm bullish XRP. You know I am. Like, I can't say too much more about that. I'm bullish stocks, I'm bullish XRP, I'm bullish crypto. If you want to know why, read my newsletter or ask me a question, and I can give you a more detailed explanation. But I don't want to waste anyone's time. I just wanted to show you guys what I see and what I think. And without further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, please share it with a friend. If you found something useful in this video, just let me know in the comments. That'd be great. If you've got any questions for me, again, ask me in the comments, ask me on Twitter, and share it with a friend. It really helps me out. I was less active making videos, so I didn't think anyone was as interested, but I've had a really few real positive messages from people saying how they miss my content and how they use it a lot. And so I wanted to come back for you guys and, yeah, just give you a video to keep you going, I guess. As always, keep smiling, have a great day, and yeah, peace up, A-Town down, as Usher would say. Thank you for tuning in, everyone.